is if companies like General Electric or Apple Computer or General Motors or Hyundai or Toyota or anybody who makes products overseas to import and sell into the U.S., they have to pay a 45% fee on the cost of goods sold at the gate. And that would, I think, would motivate a lot of manufacturers to try to move manufacturing back to the USA and get American workers back to work. Then you take the proceeds from that and you use that instead of these income taxes that they charge individuals. And if there's still a budget deficit, let's quit playing with the tax code altogether. Let's change our country from a nation of consumers, which we became because of our tax code. Let's change it to a nation of savers. So let's change how we tax people. Let's don't tax what you earn. Let's tax what you spend. So perhaps maybe an 8 or maybe a 10% national sales tax. That way, everybody who spends money, including the massive underground economy that doesn't get taxed, everyone then has skin in the game. So, I hear music.
It's always an inconvenient time when you're listening to somebody who's gotten some knowledge, isn't it? We'll be right back after the break, ladies and gentlemen, with Mike Harris. He's an author at veteranstoday.com/author/Harris, and also a host at republicbroadcasting.org on the B program channel. We'll be right back after the break.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models: a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by the VinnyEastwoodShow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinny Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinny is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinny supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit the VinnyEastwoodShow.com and click donate.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You listen to the Vinny Eastwood Show on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We're broadcasting 5 days a week. There are AM, FM affiliates all across America and a number of different internet radio stations in the Uber Kingdom who rebroadcast the show, including TNS Radio. And in New Zealand, we have Rush FM in Hamilton and iFinity FM in Southland. So thank you all very much for tuning in. My special guest today from Veterans Today, who has a show on Republic Broadcasting, is Mike Harris. Welcome back.
Well, thanks, Vinny. Thanks for having me once again. Thank you and your listeners for indulging me with this very valuable time.
Well, valuable time. I remember one time a socialist told me that the source of all wealth is work and labour. Somebody actually making something and using their own elbow grease and whatever other talents or skills or relative things that they have to offer. That's where real wealth comes from. And I've seen this show grow as a method of knowledge wealth creation in a way, and you're simply contributing.
Well, I'll do my level best.
Mm-hmm.
And over the break, you and I were talking a bit about something, and you look at the U.S. and you look at the U.S. economy right now, and one of the conclusions that I've come to is since we've deindustrialized ourselves, really the only industries left in the U.S., one of them is financial services. And that really doesn't create anything. All it does is shuffle money around from one pocket to the next. And you hope that you have an edge or some sort of an advantage over someone else. It's a zero-sum game. Half the people will win, half the people will lose. And it seems that like we based our economy on criminality these days. And you just, as what you call scumbaggery, it just seems to be rampant everywhere. That it seems that America has lost its moral compass. And that to me is a great tragedy, and it's something that we, the people, need to do. We need to fix this, and we need to hold our elected officials accountable, and we need to let them know that we're not happy with them, and we will not keep them employed as elected officials unless they get their act together pretty quick.
The difficulty is, how do you fire somebody who is your boss?
Well, that's the question too. And you look at the complication of the U.S. electoral system right now. In the last 20 years, we've had a couple of changes in how we've run our elections. We had the McCain-Feingold law that was passed, which allows people. See, in the past, if you lived in Iowa and you were running for Congress, only people from Iowa could give you money. So if you lived in New York and you wanted to influence a race in Iowa, it didn't happen. But McCain-Feingold changed all that so that if you're running for a race in Iowa and there's a group in New York, for instance, that wants to influence your race and they want to give you money, that's great. Or if they don't like you because you're standing up for the people of Iowa and doing your job, they can give your opponent money. You look at that and say, wow, we have now... Nobody explained how McCain-Feingold really works to the people, but that's how it works. And you look at the fact, and you can track this. This is available information. It's public domain. That 96% of the time, the candidate with the most money wins. So you look at how the influence of money has on elections, and why the people's voice is no longer heard. It's these historical things that people forget about. They say, oh, McCain-Feingold, campaign finance reform. This is wonderful. Well, it didn't live up to its promises. In fact, it failed at its promises, unless the promise was to disenfranchise the people of the district which that congressman or senator lives in. And then in which case, it was a fraud on the people, and the people were lied to and deceived for supporting something that did not benefit their best interest.
Well, can I ask you something? You've seen these frauds be perpetrated for a number of years. Have you actually seen them do any different frauds, or are they all one and the same scam, just people can't wake up for it or can't actually punish them for it?
Well, boy, how do I say this? All mammals are animals, but not all mammals are alike. All frauds are frauds, but they're not all alike. So some of them, they promise things that they can't deliver. That's the essence to most fraud. And we don't know what it's going to be. Like I said, we gave the example of NAFTA and GATT. They promised that we were just going to take our low-paying, low-wage manufacturing jobs and ship them overseas, and we were all going to become knowledge workers, and we were going to become engineers and software designers and these things. Well, that didn't happen either, because now the software is designed in India by people who'll work for a tenth of the price that an American software engineer will work. It was all a big lie. And that's really the basis of all fraud. And how do you discern the effect that something is going to have before it's implemented? And we're never given the truth. We're never shown. We're shown a model, but the model we're shown is based on false assumptions. And people try to make informed decisions. Well, the hardest part about making an informed decision is being informed, and people don't have the access to some of these bills that Congress passes in advance to even do the homework on them. The Obamacare bill was a prime example. Was it 2,400 pages? And if you want to know what it says, you have to pass it first. How is this legislating? This is going to be the greatest debacle known to the U.S. It's going to kill the U.S. economy. It's going to kill the U.S. as a country. This Obamacare thing, because you can't add 80 million more people to the healthcare rolls and save money. So from the get-go, there's lies that are told, and how do we discern who's telling the truth and who isn't? Because these contests that they get into to pass bills, and they swap and they trade and they give bribes. You had the what was it, the Cornhusker kickback, and you had the Louisiana Purchase, and you had all these special deals that influential senators and congressmen cut in exchange for their support for something they knew was no good. How do we get to the bottom of this? It's my contention that the United States needs complete regime change in our government. We really do. I mean, every one of these SOBs needs to be kicked to the curb and sent home packing and stripped of their pension benefits, of every benefit that they've ever received out of there. And all of their ill-gotten gain needs to be what's called in the U.S., there's a legal term called the clawback. And we need to claw back all this money from these guys, both inside of government and those who are outside of government. And we need to bring morality back into this. And really, politics is supposed to be the most noble of public service, because you're doing for the people what the people cannot do for themselves. And you are entrusted with the public trust. And these people we have now who are allegedly serving us violate that public trust on a daily basis in order to enrich themselves or to hang on to their position in Congress. And they do all sorts of things, and they're really not worthy of the job. And I could say the same for the two presidential candidates we're currently dealing with.
Now, the debate between Obama and Romney, I have not been able to watch the debate in full, but the media is going on and on and on and on about it, and as if there's a fracking choice.
Well, there isn't. The one thing that overwhelmingly struck me about the debate and how the two candidates were positioning themselves. Number one, they're not addressing the major issues that are affecting the country. They're not addressing the financial malaise that's going on in this country. They haven't addressed that at all. They've not addressed criminality that's going on in this country on a rampant basis. They're avoiding that. What I saw them both doing was protecting the status quo from different vantage points. That's all they were doing. Well, I want to protect it from the left, and Romney's going to protect it from the right, but we're both going to protect the socialist status quo. And like it or not, socialism is growing in the USA. We're becoming more of a socialized country every day, in spite of what the people want. The American people don't want this. They want government to get out of our way, let us stand or fall based upon our own effort, our own hard work, our own merit. But we're being driven into this funnel of socialism, where we're becoming more of a socialist country every day, and we're looking more and more like the former Soviet Union every passing day.
And it has actually been revealed even in mainstream sources that the reason why America is starting to look like communist Russia is because they actually hired the former KGB heads who set up the communist system of Russia to come to America to set up theirs.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's an excellent point, and that's something that I've had a bit of a, excuse the expression, bit of a hard-on about for a while, and that is Janet Napolitano, former governor of my state of Arizona, who I sought to run against in 2006 when I ran for governor of the state. She hired a guy named Eric Mueller to help her structure the Department of Homeland Security. Now, if anyone knows who Eric Mueller is, he was the head of the East German Stasi, which was the most repressive, most surveillance-intense, draconian police state that has ever been devised by mankind.